Winning smash hit, global music sensation. And Mika joins us now.
Wow, yay!
We'll bring Chloe over in a little bit. It's 3 years since your last album, isn't it?
It has been.
All right, then. So where have you been?
Well, I started touring because I tour a lot. Since my first album, I threw myself onto the road, and then I actually started making television in different places very randomly. I turned 30 years old and I was like, you know what? For years I said no to every opportunity that came my way. I was very afraid of doing TV. And then I was like, I'll do it. Whatever comes in, I'll say yes. And I literally threw it out there. And then a week later, I got an offer to do X Factor in Italy, in Italian.
Which you don't speak.
Which you don't speak?
Which you don't speak. I thought it was a joke.
Did they know when they booked you, you don't speak Italian?
Yeah. They knew.
So did you have a translator? What did you do?
No, I didn't. Well, they were like, and you can't use an earpiece because it'll just look fake. You have to, can you do this? I was like, and at first, really, I was going to say no. And in the end, in the end, I said yes. And my managers thought that I spoke conversational Italian, but I didn't. So in the end, I just learnt it. I was terrified. But just the fact of doing something...
That is the biggest blag.
I know!
I can't believe it.
Literally, when we got to the auditions, because you know what it's like, you film so much of it before. We got to the auditions, literally, I'm 30 years old, now I'm 31, but I was shaking in a way that I haven't done since I was before my GCSEs. It was just like
Sometimes that's good for you, though, isn't it?
And it's good to be challenged.
It was good. It felt really good. I did it, and it kind of, even if I was really frustrated at first, I had fun. Because by having a really kind of like not being able to use all the words I wanted to, the truth just came out on my face. So whatever I thought, whatever I
never lie.
The eyes never lie.
But you also say you can't lie. You're not a good liar.
I'm a terrible liar. I start to twitch. I start to itch my nose like Pinocchio. But then I did the voice as well in France because that went well.
And do you speak French?
I speak French.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
But it's really good to do an interview right now in English.
What passes for English? Simon Cowell came out to see you, didn't he? He loved what you did.
He loves the show. He thinks that the show is one of the best versions in the world. Did
you remind him that he turned you down when you were a youngster?
We've seen,
He turned down Take That as well, can I say?
But he's such a character, but he's quite a remarkable person.
Well, you, interestingly, you said he never looks back, he doesn't harbour onto the past, which you don't yourself.
He never looks back. Yeah. He's just like plows on, and he's got this kind of like, he's so eccentric and yet so business savvy at the same time. He's not just a record exec. He's like an old school record exec, the kind that we imagine in like the 80s.
Well, you didn't need him anyway because the album is out now. This is No Place in Heaven. We're gonna there it is. Let me just hold it up for you so you can see it properly. That's what it looks like if you're keeping an eye out for it. The single is Talk About You, so we'll have a chat about that after we've had a listen.
Cool.
You say there's a sort of a playfulness to it. It's flamboyant. It's a little bit sort of 1970s Elton John, isn't it?
Exactly. I wanted to make a record that felt almost like vintage pop, like it could have been made 10 years ago or in 10 years' time. The ingredients are very simple, but yeah, it's full of colour and melody, and it's very intimate at the same time.
And where did you record it?
Well, OK, I was supposed to record it in a really fancy studio called Conway, and there was Max Martin, who's a really famous pop writer who's written, like, for everyone. In one studio, there was Pharrell finishing another thing, and I was in this other studio, in Studio B, and after a week, I was just like, this isn't where I should be to write a record at all. So I found a house online, And I went to this house and I rented a piano and I got a couple of musicians in, and then I started writing and recording in the living room of this little bungalow from the 50s. Really nice, 2-bedroom thing, not too big, not too fancy. I'll just say it's a nice place. I had to stop every hour and a half because there was the Star Tours bus that was pulling up outside the house going, you know, making a lot of noise. And of course we were recording, so we couldn't get it onto the record. But
so it wasn't in this country?
I rented Orlando Bloom's house.
Oh, is that's what you've done?
Completely without knowing it. And the advantage was quite a nice house. The bad side of it was that every hour there was like a bus full of tourists going, and here is the house of Pirates of the Caribbean star.
Had he left his stuff in there?
Well, no, he took most of it out. But it was a very nice house.
Well, that's quite good, because I'm assuming that Orlando Bloom's house is quite separated from the neighbours. So when you're in there... No?
Not really.
Were they OK with you
I guess
recording an album in the living room?
He came by, he was all right. He actually loved it. He was just like, oh, wicked, it's good to have a good energy in this house. I didn't leave the house, really, for about 3 months. Once I got into that phase, I was just like, I want to write a really kind of a piano-based kind of pop album that's in its own little bubble.
And you describe every album that you've done as a sort of a piece of work that best describes you at that moment in your life.
Yeah, it's like they're
chapters of a
exactly,
book, almost.
And I like them to represent what I've lived, in the past few years. And since this is my 4th album, and since the last few years have been some of the most chaotic, random, and also joyful. Since the first, this is also probably the most joyful album I've made since the first.
Which is reflected in what you've done on there.
Yeah.
So we've got to introduce you to a massive fan.
To Chloe.
Chloe, where is Chloe? Oh, there she is.
Hey,
in you come, Chloe.
Hi.
There we are. From our family audience today. Did you say that Celine Dion is from a gigantic family?
She comes from a family of 14 or 16. 14, I believe.
Wow.
And she works with a lot of them as well. They're all part of the team. I come from a family of... I have 4 brothers and sisters, but my mother wanted, like, 9. She really did. She wanted 9.
I can just about handle 2.
Well, they definitely beat you, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You got the album there? Right, OK, so if you would sign that
with
for
great
Chloe, that would be
pleasure.
absolutely marvellous. Mika, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
It's lovely to see you. Welcome back.
Lovely. Yeah.
Thank you.
See you. Right, still to come today, we are live to the Speakmans to see if they have managed to cure one viewer's desperate fear of flying. Have they worked their magic?
And the parents of Britain's biggest family, the Radfords, have got advice and tips on all things related with family life. They're going to be joined by Denise Robertson after this short break.